There comes a time when you have to stop making excuses for why your life isn't where you want it to be. Deep down, you already know what's holding you back. It's not your past, not your circumstances, not even the people around you. It's the version of you that keeps choosing comfort over effort, distraction over purpose, and excuses over growth. This is the version of you that settles, avoids responsibility, and keeps doing just enough to get by. If you're tired of starting over, tired of feeling stuck, tired of watching other people move forward while you stay in the same place, then it's time to be honest with yourself. In this video, we're going to break it all down: how to stop living in your old patterns, how to cut off the lazy habits, how to rewire your mindset, and how to become someone you can actually respect. It's not always
easy, but if you're serious about building a stronger, more focused, more disciplined life, this is where it begins. Chapter 1. Stop making excuses and take full responsibility. If you're still holding on to excuses, you're permitting the weakest version of yourself to keep breathing. Excuses are nothing but lies dressed in comfort. They sound reasonable, they make you feel justified. They protect you from discomfort. But at the end of the day, excuses are chains. They hold you in place. They keep you average. They rob you of everything you're capable of becoming. No one ever became strong by blaming something outside of themselves. No one built a powerful life while pointing fingers, waiting for the world to change, or hoping someone else would rescue them. If you want to rise, it starts with a single decision. Take full responsibility for everything in your life. Not just the easy parts, not just what's convenient. Everything. Your thoughts, your actions, your patterns, your choices, your attitude, your discipline, your effort. Own it all. That's where change begins. Most people are addicted to blame. They say their parents messed them up, their boss doesn't appreciate them, their partner doesn't support them. The economy is bad, they didn't have time, they weren't in the right mood. But here's the truth. The day you decide to stop making excuses is the day you kill that weak version of yourself. It's the day you shift from victim to warrior. Responsibility isn't about fault. It's about power. Maybe what happened to you wasn't your fault, but how you respond is always your responsibility. Life doesn't owe you anything, and the moment you stop waiting for someone to fix it and start building it with your own hands, that's the moment everything changes. That's when you stop surviving and start leading. That's when you stop reacting and start creating. You can't control the weather. You can't control traffic. You can't control what people think or say, but you can control how you show up. You can control whether you push or quit, whether you grow or stay stuck, whether you take the hit and keep going or let it break you. That's your power, and until you claim it, you'll always feel powerless. Look around. Every successful person you admire has gone through pain, setbacks, doubt, and pressure. The only difference is they didn't sit there making excuses. They didn't wait for the perfect time. They acted. They owned their situation. They faced it, even when it was unfair, even when it was hard, even when it felt impossible. And because they did, they got stronger. You can too. But not if you keep feeding yourself lies like "I can't," "I'm too tired," "I don't know how," or "maybe later." Excuses will always be there. Strength won't be. Here's the truth about responsibility. It's not a feeling, it's a habit. You decide to show up. You decide to be accountable. You decide to tell yourself the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. You decide to stop blaming circumstances and start becoming the person who can rise above them. You don't need more motivation. You need more responsibility. Motivation fades. Responsibility builds momentum. If your life isn't where you want it to be right now, that's not a reason to quit. It's a wake-up call. It's feedback. It's an invitation to grow. Use it. Don't waste time justifying why things aren't working. Fix them. Rethink your priorities. Upgrade your habits. Eliminate what no longer serves your growth. That's your job, not anyone else's. You're not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on you. And yes, it's hard. Growth hurts. Facing your patterns takes courage. Taking full ownership means standing in front of your own mistakes and not flinching. But that's what strength is. It's not pretending to be perfect. It's standing in the truth, refusing to be ruled by the past, and choosing to rise no matter how heavy the moment feels. Every time you take responsibility, you take one step away from weakness and one step closer to becoming who you were meant to be. You don't need a rescue plan. You need to stop running from reality. Face the facts. You're either disciplined or you're distracted. You're either focused or you're making excuses. You're either building or breaking. No in between. You know what needs to change. You feel it. You've thought about it for years. But thinking won't move the needle. Only action will. And action starts with accepting that this is your life and no one is coming to save you from it. So what do you do next? First, stop blaming anyone. Every time you say, "They made me feel this way," or "I had no choice," you're handing your power over. Take it back. You felt that way because of how you interpreted the situation. You didn't act because you decided not to. That's not criticism. That's clarity. Once you own your part, you can change your direction. Until then, you're stuck playing a role that doesn't serve your growth. Second, start keeping promises to yourself. Small ones. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task you committed to. Stick to your word. If you keep breaking your own trust, you'll never build the inner strength needed to lead your life. People who succeed long-term aren't more talented, they're more consistent. And consistency is a result of personal responsibility. Third, reframe failure. If you fall short, don't spin it into a pity story. Own it. Learn from it. Adjust. Then move forward with more wisdom. There's nothing wrong with failing. But there's something deeply wrong with quitting on yourself. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be real. And the most real thing you can do is look in the mirror and say, "I take full responsibility for the person I am becoming." Fourth, stop waiting to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. Start anyway. Responsibility isn't about having all the answers. It's about taking the first step, even when you don't. Courage doesn't mean you're not afraid. It means you act despite the fear. Take the step, make the call, show up, get uncomfortable. That's how you kill the weak version of yourself, by starving it of comfort and feeding it discipline. Every time you hold yourself accountable, you gain strength. Every time you choose action over excuse, you grow confidence. Every time you show up with no guarantee of success, but still give it your all, you build resilience. And that resilience is what separates the strong from the average. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better than your old self. Every single day. You're not weak because of your past. You're weak if you stay there. You're not broken because you made mistakes. You're broken only if you stop trying. You can be powerful, grounded, disciplined, and sharp, but not if you keep feeding yourself the same old excuses. Cut them off, replace them with responsibility, with action, with honesty. That's the formula. That's the way forward. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It responds to effort, discipline, and execution. And if you want to matter, if you want to lead, if you want to build a life that reflects your true potential, you need to start by eliminating the one thing standing in your way. Your old patterns, the weak version of you that hides behind reasons, that avoids effort, that settles for less. Kill it. Not with shame, with truth, with action, with clarity. And if you fall short today, fine. Take responsibility and do better tomorrow. If you wasted a week, stop now and reset. Don't turn your weakness into a lifestyle. Interrupt it. Confront it. Refuse to let it grow. You have one life. Don't spend it negotiating with excuses. You want to feel strong. Do the hard thing. You want to be respected. Respect yourself enough to act with discipline. You want to rise. Start carrying your own weight. No more blaming. No more waiting. No more repeating the same cycles, hoping for a different result. Stand up, take charge, and start becoming the version of yourself you were always meant to be, the one who owns every part of their life and makes no apologies for their growth. That's how transformation begins. One decision, one day. One commitment to stop running, stop hiding, and stop excusing. Step into full responsibility. That's where the strong version of you lives. Not in perfection, in progress. Not in comfort, in challenge. Not in stories, in action. So the question is no longer, why is my life like this? The real question is, what am I going to do about it, starting now? The weak version of you is already trembling. Good. That means you're ready to rise. Chapter 2. Wake up early and train your mind daily. The moment you choose to rise before the rest of the world, you declare that you're serious about changing your life. You're not just talking about growth, you're committed to it. Waking up early isn't about being extreme. It's about taking control. It's about getting ahead while others are still asleep in comfort. If you want to become someone different, someone stronger, more focused and more grounded, you start with your mornings, because how you start your day determines how you live your life. Every morning is a new opportunity, but most people waste it by hitting snooze and scrolling through distractions. You can't build a powerful life by starting your day in reaction. The early hours are sacred. That quiet time before the noise begins is your chance to train your mind, reset your thoughts, and prepare yourself for the demands of the day ahead. If you give that time away to laziness, you're surrendering your potential. You must stop letting the bed win. The battle begins the second you hear the alarm. In that moment, you either choose your comfort or your purpose. You either choose growth or give in to weakness. No one will come drag you out of bed. You do it because you've made a decision to rise above the old you. That version of you that avoids discomfort, that waits for motivation, that finds excuses to delay it. It dies when you take that first step and get up. Training your mind starts with discipline, not feelings. You won't always feel like doing it. That's the point. You do it anyway, because every time you follow through, you build mental strength. Every time you stick to your commitment, you shape a stronger identity. Your mindset isn't something you're born with, it's something you condition, like a muscle. It grows through repetition, challenge, and consistency. And that process starts every morning. You don't need 3 hours of complex rituals. You need presence. You need focus. You need to start your day by deciding who you're going to be and aligning your actions with that decision. When you wake up early, your mind is fresh, undisturbed, and clear. That's your window to install new patterns, break toxic loops, and fuel your day with clarity. Waiting until later invites chaos. Starting now gives you control. Get out of bed, drink water, move your body, sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? What do I need to do to be that person? What distractions do I need to eliminate? What emotions do I need to manage? This kind of intentional reflection puts you in charge of your day. It shifts you from passive living to purposeful living. You stop drifting and start directing. You must stop letting the world dictate your state. Most people wake up late, scroll through negativity, rush into their responsibilities, and wonder why they feel anxious, unfocused, and tired. That's not life, that's survival. You were not made to react all day. You were built to lead, to grow, and to evolve. But that only happens when you take ownership of your internal world before the external world gets a hold of you. Wake up early and sit with your silence. Don't reach for your phone. Don't turn on the noise. Learn to be alone with your thoughts. That's where the real work happens. When you're not distracted, you begin to hear the truth. You begin to feel the parts of yourself you've been ignoring. That's where you break through. That's where you heal. That's where you strengthen your mind. Start with breath. Slow it down. Calm your nervous system. Then train your focus. Choose what thoughts you allow in. Don't let your mind wander aimlessly. Direct it. Guide it. Teach it what matters. This is mental training. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, directing your thoughts builds resilience. You don't become mentally strong by accident. You build it with discipline and daily practice. Visualization, affirmation, stillness, reading, writing. These are tools you can use each morning to shape your thinking. Pick one. Start small. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. The key is showing up. The strength comes from showing up even when you're tired, even when your mind wants to pull you back into old habits. That's when the real transformation begins. When you wake up early and train your mind, you're not just improving your mornings, you're rewiring your entire life. You begin to think differently. You become more aware of your emotions. You respond instead of react. You start seeing possibilities instead of problems. You begin to act from clarity, not chaos. And that mental clarity creates better decisions, stronger habits, and a more grounded identity. Success doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in the quiet, repeated choices that no one sees. Waking up early is one of them. It's your private victory. It's the proof that you're willing to do what most people won't. That single decision, repeated daily, separates the disciplined from the distracted. It's not just a habit, it's a declaration. A declaration that says, I'm in charge of my life now. And yes, you'll be tired some days. Yes, you'll want to sleep in. But the cost of comfort is always your potential. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be committed. Get up, do the work. Even when it's not easy. Especially when it's not easy. That's when you build strength. That's when you kill the old version of yourself. The one that gives up when it's hard, that makes excuses, that lets the day control them instead of leading it. Start thinking of your early mornings as a personal training ground. This is where you build emotional control, mental focus, and spiritual alignment. This is where you condition your mind to handle adversity, pressure, and setbacks. Every time you rise early and train your thinking, you're becoming a more powerful version of yourself. And the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. It's no longer something you have to do. It becomes who you are. And when the world starts throwing challenges at you, you'll be ready because you've already done the work before the world woke up. You've already aligned yourself. You've already strengthened your mind. You've already set your intention. While others are trying to catch up, you're already moving with purpose. That's the advantage. That's the edge you create by choosing to rise early and train your mind. There's no magic to it, just discipline, just commitment, just a clear decision that you're done living by default. that you're done being led by emotions, excuses, and old habits, that you're ready to take full control of your energy, your thoughts, and your time. And it all starts the second you get out of bed before the sun and decide to lead yourself first. If you keep waiting for the perfect morning, it won't come. If you keep searching for motivation, it will fail you. What you need is a standard, a personal code that says, this is who I am, this is what I do. No matter how I feel, when you wake up with that standard, you train your mind to rise above resistance, and the more you do it, the more powerful you become. You're not here to be average. You're here to become unshakable. That happens one morning at a time, one early rise at a time, one mental rep at a time. Get up, take the lead, and start building the life that reflects your true strength. Not someday, not when it's convenient, now, because the strongest version of you is waiting on the other side of that alarm clock. Kill the version that hides, strengthen the one that shows up. Every single day. Chapter 3. Eliminate distractions and control your daily focus. You will never build a powerful life if your attention is scattered in 1,000 directions. Focus is your greatest tool, and distraction is your greatest enemy. If you can't command your attention, you will constantly feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and unfulfilled. The people who win in life are not the ones doing the most. They're the ones who have mastered the ability to direct their energy where it matters most, without being pulled into everything that doesn't. Every day, there are forces trying to steal your attention. Notifications, noise, news, entertainment, and people who do not respect your goals. If you don't defend your time, it gets consumed by everything meaningless. This isn't just about being productive, it's about taking full control of your mind. You can't grow, create, or lead if your focus is constantly being hijacked. Distractions don't just waste time, they weaken your ability to stay aligned with who you want to become. If your life feels out of control, look at your focus. What are you giving your mind to all day? What fills your screen, your ears, your conversations? If it's not building you, it's breaking you. Most people don't even realize how much energy they lose through constant interruptions. Every time you check your phone without intention, you fracture your attention. Every time you let social media dictate your emotions, you hand over control. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't matter, you say no to something that does. Start by identifying what steals your focus. Make it specific. Is it your phone? Is it mindless scrolling? Is it drama that doesn't involve you? Is it doing too many things at once? You must be ruthless in eliminating what pulls you away from your priorities. You don't need more time, you need fewer distractions. You don't need to work harder, you need to think clearer. That clarity only comes when your attention is clean. Decide what matters and eliminate what doesn't. Not everything deserves your response. Not every message needs a reply. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Your time is your life. Protect it with intensity. If you don't, people will fill it with their agenda, and you'll wonder why you're tired and stuck. Take your time back. Filter your inputs. Clean your environment. Turn off the noise. Choose peace over stimulation. That's where your true strength begins. Control your space. If your environment is full of clutter, noise, and open tabs, your brain stays overwhelmed. Simplify it. Organize your work area, remove visual noise, keep only what you need in front of you. This isn't about being neat, it's about being sharp. A clean space supports a clear mind. Don't underestimate the power of physical order in creating mental order. Then take back your digital space. Turn off notifications. Delete apps that waste your time. Set limits on screen use. Use your devices with purpose, not out of habit. Your phone should be a tool, not a master. Reclaim your attention from technology. You don't need to be available 24/7. You need to be focused on your mission. If something isn't urgent or important, it can wait. Train yourself to delay responses and prioritize your mental clarity. Once you've cleared the noise, define your focus. Ask yourself daily, what are the 3 most important things I need to accomplish today? Write them down. Keep them visible. Work on them when your energy is strongest. Don't start your day in reaction mode. Start it with intention. If you don't choose your focus, your day will be controlled by distractions disguised as urgency. Work in deep blocks of time. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't multitask. When you divide your attention, you dilute your results. Give your full presence to one task. When it's done, move to the next. That's how you get more done with less stress. That's how you build mastery in anything. Real results don't come from doing more. They come from doing what matters with full presence and effort. Protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Every hour lost to distractions is an hour you'll never get back. You can't create momentum when your energy is constantly reset. You can't stay consistent when you're pulled in 100 directions. You can't grow strong when your attention is always escaping the moment. Anchor yourself in purpose. Stay committed to what you start. Don't chase noise. Build depth. And when your mind wanders, which it will, don't panic. Bring it back. Again and again. This is the training. This is the process of mental control. You don't become focused overnight. You become focused by practicing presence, by cutting what weakens your attention, by noticing when you drift, and by returning to what matters most. That's how you build unshakable discipline. That's how you train yourself to be immune to the chaos around you. Remember that distractions are addictive. The more you indulge them, the harder it becomes to focus. That's why discipline is non-negotiable. You must build it daily. If you let yourself drift today, it becomes easier to drift tomorrow. If you stay focused today, you strengthen the habit of control. The cost of distractions is not just wasted time, it's wasted life. Don't let your potential be buried under habits of escape. You'll be tempted to respond to everything. Don't. You'll feel pulled toward comfort. Resist it. You'll hear the voice that says, just a few minutes won't hurt. Ignore it. Every time you say no to a distraction, you say yes to your goals. Every time you reclaim your focus, you reclaim your power. And over time, that discipline turns into transformation. You are not your distractions. You are not your urges. You are not the noise around you. You are the awareness behind all of it. When you choose to take back your attention, you begin to see clearly. You begin to act from intention. You begin to move with power, and that shift will change everything, from your results to your self-respect. No one else can do this for you. You must be the one to decide that your focus is worth protecting. You must be the one to say, enough. Enough of giving my energy to things that don't matter. Enough of scattering my power. Enough of losing my day to meaningless habits. You weren't made to chase distractions. You were made to direct your life with precision and purpose. So take a hard look at how you spend your time. Audit your habits. Adjust your environment. Sharpen your priorities. Make space for what truly matters. And above all, train your mind to stay where it belongs, in the present, with full awareness and intentional effort. That's where growth happens. That's where power lives. Eliminating distractions is not just a productivity tactic, It's a commitment to becoming someone who is fully alive and fully engaged in the life they are building. Don't let your days slip away in noise. Take control, choose focus, and create a life that reflects your true potential, not your default patterns. This is your time. Make it count. Chapter 4. Face your fears and stop running from pain. You will never become who you're meant to be until you confront what you're afraid to face. Fear is not the enemy. Avoidance is. Pain is not the problem. Your resistance to it is. The reason you feel stuck is not because you're weak, but because you keep running from the very discomfort that was designed to make you stronger. You've been conditioned to avoid fear, to escape pain, to stay in the comfort zone where nothing challenges you and nothing changes. But the truth is, everything you want in life exists on the other side of what you've been avoiding. You cannot build strength while hiding. You cannot grow while running from reality. As long as you avoid what scares you, fear will control your decisions. It will shape your habits, guide your reactions, and limit your potential. And the longer you let fear run your life, the further you drift from who you really are. You were not born to retreat. You were born to face, to endure, and to overcome. You can either keep avoiding hard things, or you can face them and rise. One keeps you small, the other sets you free. Fear is part of life. It shows up in different forms. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of change, fear of loss. But none of these fears have power unless you surrender to them. The only way to take your power back is to stop running and start facing. Pain is a teacher. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to reveal something in you. Growth is uncomfortable. Healing is messy. Progress is often painful, but pain is not your enemy. It's your invitation. It tells you where the work is. It points to the parts of yourself that need attention, correction, and evolution. When you numb your pain, you silence your inner signals. When you face your pain, you activate transformation. You will never find peace by avoiding the struggle. You find it by walking through it. The difficult conversation you've been dodging, the truth you've been suppressing, the emotion you've been afraid to feel, those are the doors you must walk through if you want freedom. Real freedom doesn't come from comfort. It comes from facing what you fear, feeling what hurts, and realizing that it didn't destroy you, it refined you. Fear is loud when you hide from it. It grows bigger when you avoid it. It controls your decisions when you let it sit in the background unchecked. But the moment you look fear in the face, something shifts. You realize it's not as big as you made it out to be. You realize you are stronger than you thought. And most of all, you realize that fear is not there to stop you. It's there to test your readiness. You can't think your way past fear. You have to move through it. Action is the antidote. Courage isn't about feeling fearless. It's about moving forward, even when your heart is racing and your stomach is tight. You do it anyway, because you know what's on the other side is growth, clarity, strength, and confidence. And the more you face your fears, the more fearless you become. Not because fear disappears, but because it no longer controls you. Start with the small fears. Speak the truth you've been holding in. Set the boundary you've been afraid to draw. Take the first step toward the dream you've been putting off. Say yes to the opportunity that scares you. Step into discomfort intentionally. You don't need to leap into the fire, you just need to stop running from the spark. Every small act of courage builds your capacity to face more, and the more you face, the stronger you get. Stop lying to yourself that you're not ready. Stop waiting for the fear to fade. It won't. Waiting only makes the fear louder. You become ready by doing the thing that scares you. The readiness is built in the process. There is no perfect moment. The only moment you have is now. Use it. Step forward, even if your hands are shaking. The only thing worse than failing is looking back and realizing you let fear dictate your life. And don't confuse pain with punishment. Life is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to wake you up. When something feels heavy, it's not a sign to run. It's a sign to pay attention. There's something in that experience that will build you if you stay with it. If you keep avoiding it, you'll keep repeating it in different forms. Face it once, and you break the pattern. Avoid it, and the cycle continues. Pain reveals your edges. It shows you where you still have healing to do, where you still react, where your strength is still developing. Use it. Feel it fully. Don't suppress it. Let it speak to you. Let it show you what needs to shift, and then move through it with eyes open and a heart willing to grow. That's how you build resilience. That's how you develop emotional endurance. That's how you reclaim your power. You don't need to pretend you're not afraid. You don't need to act like pain doesn't affect you. That's not strength. That's denial. Real strength is honesty. It's feeling everything and still choosing to move forward. It's facing the thing you thought would break you and realizing it made you unshakable. It's being uncomfortable and still committed. That's what separates the powerful from the passive. So ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What fear has been making my decisions for me? What pain have I been running from? What truth have I been afraid to face? Write it down, get honest, and then make a decision that enough is enough. You will not be ruled by avoidance. You will not live your life in retreat. You will walk toward what scares you and take your power back one decision at a time. This is your turning point. This is where the old version of you, the one who ran, who doubted, who avoided, starts to die. And the real you, the one who faces truth, who acts despite fear, who endures discomfort, starts to lead. Don't underestimate what's on the other side of fear. It's not just confidence. It's clarity. It's peace. It's self-respect. And once you taste that, you'll never go back. You can't grow strong by avoiding what makes you uncomfortable. You grow by leaning into it. You stretch. You feel. You rise. And each time you do, your fear loses power and your courage gains momentum. It's not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming braver each day. And that bravery becomes your foundation. You stop reacting from fear. You start acting from purpose. You were not made to shrink. You were made to expand. You were not built to hide. You were built to lead. And leadership starts with facing what you don't want to face. The pain is not permanent. The fear is not fatal, but the regret of a life unlived, of a self left undeveloped, that will stay with you forever if you don't make a change now. So take the step, face the fear, lean into the pain, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Because that's what the strongest version of you demands. Because you've spent enough time avoiding, now it's time to rise. Chapter 5. Cut off lazy habits and create strong routines. Nothing will hold you back more than the lazy habits you've normalized in your life. You cannot move forward carrying behaviors that keep you stagnant. If you want to rise, if you want to reach the next level of your life, you must cut off anything that keeps you comfortable but unproductive. Comfort without growth is a slow trap. The longer you stay in it, the harder it becomes to escape. The truth is, most people don't need more talent or more time. They need to stop living on autopilot, wasting hours on habits that serve no purpose. Lazy habits don't show up all at once. They creep in slowly. One skipped workout, one more scroll, one excuse to put it off until tomorrow. And before you know it, Those small decisions have formed patterns, and those patterns shape your results. You cannot build a strong life with weak habits. Every day, your habits are either pulling you forward or holding you back. You are either becoming more disciplined or more distracted. There is no in between. You know which habits are stealing your momentum. You feel the weight of them every time you waste a morning, every time you choose comfort over responsibility, every time you delay what you said you would do. That weight isn't random, it's feedback. Your body and mind are telling you that you're off track, and instead of ignoring it, use it. Use that discomfort as a signal to wake up and start building routines that align with who you want to become. Cutting off lazy habits isn't just about removing what's wrong, it's about replacing it with something right. Because if you don't replace it, the old patterns will come back. The mind loves familiarity, even if it's damaging. That's why strong routines matter. They give your life structure, they create a rhythm of discipline. They anchor you when emotions try to lead you off course. If your days are unstructured, your life will reflect that chaos. Start with your mornings. Your first actions set the tone for your entire day. If you begin in reaction, you stay behind. If you begin with intention, you take control. Wake up and move with purpose. No snoozing, no drifting. Get out of bed and take action. Whether it's working out, journaling, meditating, or planning your day, do something that centers your focus and fuels your energy. That first hour is your foundation. Protect it. Then, look at how you spend your time. Audit your day. Where are you leaking energy? What are you doing out of habit that no longer serves you? Scrolling aimlessly, sleeping in, skipping meals, procrastinating, all of these are decisions, and every decision you repeat becomes part of your identity. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to change the next hour. That's how routines are built. One choice, one block of time, one commitment at a time. Strong routines are not about perfection. They're about consistency. Set a routine you can maintain. One that pushes you but doesn't break you. Start small if you have to. But start and don't negotiate with yourself when it's time to follow through. The old version of you, the one who gave in to laziness, needs to be replaced with someone who does what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. That shift changes everything. You must also stop treating discipline like a punishment. Discipline is freedom. When you build strong routines, you gain time, energy, and focus. You reduce stress because your day has a system. You don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You're not reacting, you're executing. That's power. That's what builds momentum. And once you feel that, you won't want to go back to chaos. Remove temptations that trigger your lazy habits. If your phone pulls you into distraction, put it away when you work. If your environment encourages sloppiness, clean and organize it. Set boundaries. Structure your time. Prepare the night before so your mornings are frictionless. The easier it is to start, the less resistance you'll face. Don't rely on willpower alone. Build systems that make strong choices automatic. And when the temptation to fall back into lazy habits comes, and it will, remind yourself what you're fighting for. You're not doing this for a perfect checklist. You're doing this because you're tired of wasting potential. You're tired of saying, "I'll start tomorrow." You're done being stuck in patterns that leave you empty. You want energy, progress, self-respect. And those things don't come from doing what's easy. They come from doing what's necessary, even when it's hard. There will be days you want to quit. Days where the old habits feel easier. That's normal. That's the test. But remember, every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. and that trust compounds. It turns into confidence, into strength, into belief. That's how you create a powerful identity, not by dreaming, but by doing. Every small win matters. Stack them, build from them. Let them remind you of who you're becoming. Your routines reflect your standards. And if your standards are low, your results will match. Raise them. Expect more from yourself. Not because you need to prove anything, but because you know there's more in you. The weak version of you wants comfort. The strong version of you wants purpose. And every day, you decide who wins. You can't want change and keep living like nothing needs to change. Track your progress. Measure your routines. Know what's working and what's not. Don't guess. Be honest. Review your habits weekly. Make adjustments. Eliminate what's draining you. Double down on what builds you. Your time is your responsibility. Own it. And if you fall off track, don't spiral. Reset quickly. One bad day doesn't erase your progress. What matters is that you get back to the standard you've set for yourself. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, about taking ownership of every moment, every action, every choice. You will not rise by accident. You will rise by creating a system that supports your growth and killing the behaviors that keep you stuck. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to be is hidden in your habits. Fix the habits, and everything else changes. The weak version of you will beg for just 5 more minutes in bed, for 1 more episode, for 1 more day of putting it off. But that voice isn't your truth. It's your pattern, and it will die the second you stop listening. Replace it with action. Replace it with structure. Replace it with discipline. That's how you break cycles. That's how you take control. This is your moment to stop living in cycles of guilt, frustration, and delay. This is your chance to take your life seriously, not someday, but now. Start with 1 habit, 1 routine, 1 commitment, and repeat it. Let that momentum carry you. You're not lazy, you're undisciplined. Fix that, and you'll be unstoppable. Your future doesn't need another excuse. It needs a system. Build it, and become the person you were always meant to be. Chapter 6. Speak powerfully and stop negative self-talk now. The most powerful conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And if that voice in your head is tearing you down instead of building you up, you will never reach the life you deserve. You can work hard, show up every day, build habits, stay disciplined, but if your internal dialogue is poisoned with doubt, guilt, shame, or criticism, you will sabotage yourself before you ever arrive. Your self-talk is either your greatest weapon or your deepest weakness. It's time to silence the lies and speak with the strength of who you are becoming. Too many people live with a voice in their head that's not even theirs. It's the echo of criticism from their past, the weight of comparison, the pattern of internal negativity they've never confronted. That voice says, "You're not enough, you always mess up, you'll never change," and every time you listen to it, you reinforce its control. But that voice only wins if you agree with it. The moment you stop accepting it as truth and start replacing it with power, you begin to take your identity back. You were not born doubting yourself. That voice was learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. You must begin by becoming aware of the language you use when you speak to yourself. Pay attention to your internal patterns. Do you criticize yourself every time you make a mistake? Do you downplay your wins and magnify your flaws? Do you say things to yourself you would never say to someone you love? If so, that's not self-awareness, it's self-sabotage. You don't become powerful by talking to yourself like a failure. You become powerful by speaking to yourself with clarity, strength, and truth. Not fake positivity. Not empty hype, but words that lift, focus, and align you with your mission. When your internal language changes, your external life begins to follow. Confidence is not found. It's spoken into existence through repetition, intention, and belief. You must stop letting fear, past failure, or insecurity write the script in your mind. Tear that script up. Write a new one. One that speaks from strength, not weakness. One that speaks from vision, not memory. One that focuses on progress, not perfection. And repeat that new voice daily, especially when it feels unnatural, because that's the only way to rewire the pattern. If you wake up and tell yourself, I'm tired, I'm not ready, I'm behind, then you carry that energy into your entire day. But if you wake up and declare, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am showing up with full effort today, then you've just taken control of your state. That simple shift changes your posture, your decisions, and your outcomes. Words shape identity. What you say, you begin to believe. What you believe, you begin to act on. And what you act on becomes your reality. Start your day by speaking powerfully out loud if you must. Set the tone. Remind yourself of your goals. Reaffirm your values. Replace fear with action-based language. Replace doubt with strength. Replace shame with truth. This isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about taking responsibility for how you speak to yourself. You don't get better by beating yourself down. You get better by holding yourself to a higher standard and speaking to yourself in a way that moves you toward that standard. When negative thoughts show up, and they will, don't entertain them like guests. Don't feed them with your focus. Challenge them. Talk back. If your mind says, you can't handle this, answer with I've faced worse and come through stronger. If it says, you're too far behind, respond with I'm further than I was yesterday and I'm not stopping. This isn't blind optimism, it's self-leadership. You don't need to feel good to speak powerfully. You speak powerfully so you can show up and lead yourself when it matters most. You must also stop making your inner voice conditional. Don't only speak well to yourself when you succeed, you need it even more when you fail. When you fall short, speak like someone who is learning, not someone who is broken. Say, this is feedback, I'm adjusting, I'm growing. Speak from a mindset that builds resilience, not one that multiplies guilt. If you keep tearing yourself down after every mistake, you will never build the consistency needed to grow. Watch how you speak about your future. Stop saying, I hope it happens, and start saying, I'm building it. Replace, if it works out, with, when I stay consistent, it will happen. That shift matters. It turns you from a passive observer to an active creator. Your words must reflect the discipline you are living, not the fear you're trying to escape. Speak from vision, not from anxiety. Let your language match your future, not your past. Even your body responds to the words you speak. Your posture, your energy, your focus, all of it is shaped by your internal language. If you speak like someone who is weak, your body will follow. If you speak like someone who is strong, your energy aligns with that strength. Every word you speak to yourself sends a signal to your nervous system, your emotions, your willpower. Train that signal to be sharp, focused, and unbreakable. You can't silence every negative thought, but you can refuse to agree with them. And that refusal is your freedom. You don't need to control every thought. You need to control which thoughts you obey. Just because a fear shows up doesn't mean you act on it. Just because doubt whispers doesn't mean you listen. Speak truth louder than the noise. Declare it. Own it. Repeat it. Let it become your default setting. Train yourself to interrupt negativity the second it begins. Not 5 minutes later, not after you've spiraled, immediately. The moment you hear self-criticism creeping in, change the channel, replace the script. Direct your thoughts instead of letting them drift. Over time, this becomes instinct. You become someone who leads their own mind, not someone ruled by old patterns. And remember, this is a daily discipline. Just like physical training, mental strength must be developed through repetition. You don't speak powerfully once and expect permanent results. You show up every day. You correct the voice when it slips. You keep refining the language until it reflects who you are becoming. This is how you reshape your mindset. One word, one thought, one correction at a time. There is no room for self-hate in a life built on growth. You will not move forward if you are constantly tearing yourself down. You are not weak. You are learning. You are not broken. You are building. You are not behind. You are on the path. Speak like it. Carry yourself like it. And act in alignment with that truth. That's how change becomes permanent. You owe it to yourself to stop being your own enemy. You owe it to yourself to stop repeating lies and start speaking from power. You owe it to yourself to create a voice in your head that is your ally, not your opponent. That voice is with you every day. Make sure it speaks from truth, strength, and purpose, because once that voice changes, everything else follows. Speak powerfully, and the strongest version of you will rise. Chapter 7. Do uncomfortable things that make you grow. The life you want is hiding behind the things you're avoiding. Growth isn't found in comfort, ease, or routine. It's found in challenge, friction, and resistance. If you want to rise, you must step directly into discomfort and do the hard things you keep putting off. Nothing changes while you're staying safe. Real progress begins the moment you choose to lean into what feels unfamiliar, what scares you, what tests your strength. That's the space where transformation is born. You will never discover your full potential by doing what's easy. Easy builds nothing. Comfort keeps you repeating the same choices that created the very version of yourself you're trying to outgrow. If you want a different outcome, you need different behavior. And different behavior always starts with discomfort. Not once, but every single day. The stronger version of you is waiting to be built in the moments you want to quit, step back, or stay hidden. But growth doesn't care about your feelings. It demands your action. Most people stay stuck, not because they lack potential, but because they avoid the discomfort required to unlock it. They run from the cold exposure of criticism. They avoid the heat of tough conversations. They dodge the weight of personal responsibility. But every time you run from discomfort, you run from growth. You build a life of limitation by staying in the zone of what's familiar. And that zone may feel safe, but it's also slowly shrinking your spirit. Doing uncomfortable things isn't just a personal development strategy, it's a requirement for becoming powerful. The more often you stretch yourself, the more you expand what you believe you're capable of. And the more you expand, the less you fear challenge. Fear doesn't disappear when you get stronger. You just stop obeying it. You stop letting it control your steps. You learn to walk through it without permission. Think about the things you've been avoiding, the decisions that scare you, the actions that feel too big, the conversations that keep you up at night. Those are the exact things you need to confront. Not tomorrow, now, because your avoidance is costing you momentum. It's delaying your progress. Every day you wait, your confidence fades and your excuses grow stronger. You don't need more time. You need more courage. Courage is a decision. You don't wait for it. You build it through repetition. You get uncomfortable on purpose. You place yourself in situations where you feel pressure, uncertainty, and challenge. That's where your character is built. That's where you learn what you're made of. You stop overthinking and start doing. You stop rehearsing and start acting. You push the edge of your limits until those limits move. Do the workout you've been avoiding. Speak up in the meeting where you usually stay silent. Start the project that feels overwhelming. Say no to what drains you, even if it disappoints others. Set the boundary that protects your peace. All of these acts feel uncomfortable at first, but they make you stronger every time you follow through. Every small decision to do the hard thing builds trust with yourself, and that trust turns into identity. People talk about wanting confidence, discipline, leadership, but these qualities aren't born in theory, they're born in discomfort. You build them by stepping into challenge, by choosing growth over convenience. Confidence is what happens when you do the thing you thought you couldn't do and come out the other side. Discipline is forged when you take action despite resistance. Leadership is built when you face discomfort for the sake of a greater mission. You must train your mind to stop chasing ease. Stop asking, what's the most comfortable option, and start asking, what's the most growth-producing choice? That single shift in mindset will change your entire trajectory. Your focus moves from protection to expansion. You no longer fear being challenged. You pursue it, because you know every time you step into discomfort, you step closer to the person you were meant to become. And yes, it's going to feel messy. Growth is not graceful. You'll feel awkward. You'll fall short. You'll question yourself. But all of that is part of the process. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not evolving. You're simply recycling your old self in a slightly newer package. But if you can walk into the discomfort and stay there long enough, you'll emerge with a new level of strength that no comfort zone could ever give you. Your mind will resist it. It will tell you to wait, to ease up, to go back to what's familiar. That voice is not your intuition. It's your old self trying to survive. Don't listen to it. Listen to the part of you that wants more, the part of you that knows you're capable of greatness. That voice is quieter, but it's the one that will move you forward if you choose to follow it. Set a new standard for yourself. Make it non-negotiable to do at least one uncomfortable thing every single day. Not because it feels good, but because it makes you stronger, because it sharpens your mental edge, because it reminds you that you're in control, not your emotions, not your fears, not your past. You, the person who gets up, steps in and grows no matter what. This is how transformation becomes real. Not by reading more books, not by consuming more information, but by stepping into discomfort again and again until it becomes your new normal. And once it does, the things that once scared you now feel like warm-ups. What once felt impossible becomes routine, because you've built the capacity to carry more, to endure more, to lead yourself through more. You're not here to live the same day over and over. You're not here to coast through life unnoticed. You're here to push, to grow, to expand, and to evolve into the strongest, most focused version of yourself. That version is not built by avoiding stress. It's built by handling it, by walking into challenge with your head high and your heart grounded. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. Move, take the step, embrace the tension. That's the process. That's the doorway. And the more you walk through it, the more unstoppable you become. You weren't made to live a soft life. You were made to face what's hard and grow through it. Your breakthrough won't come from what feels good. It will come from what stretches you. You don't get stronger by hoping. You get stronger by hurting, healing, and rising again. Let discomfort be your training ground. Let challenge be your teacher. Let growth become your lifestyle. That's where power is born, and that's how you step into a life that reflects your highest potential. Not someday, today. Chapter 8. Discipline your emotions and stay calm under pressure. If you cannot control your emotions will control your decisions, your behavior, and eventually your entire life. The difference between people who lead and people who break under pressure is not talent, it's emotional discipline. In moments of chaos, your ability to stay calm becomes your greatest strength. It's not about suppressing how you feel, it's about not allowing those feelings to take command of your choices. You're not weak for feeling emotion, you're weak only when you let emotion make you impulsive, reactive, and unstable. Pressure is part of life. Stress will come, people will disappoint you, plans will fail, unexpected situations will shake your peace. But none of those things have the power to define you unless you give your emotional response away for free. You have to stop being a slave to every mood swing, every wave of frustration, every burst of anxiety. That kind of life will exhaust you. Emotional maturity starts when you begin to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, to reflect before deciding. You're not your emotions. You're the one who observes them. You're the one who can step back, see the feeling rising and choose how to handle it. But if you've never trained your emotional responses, you'll be hijacked every time something doesn't go your way. You'll lash out in anger. You'll shut down in sadness. You'll panic under stress. And then you'll regret how you handled it, adding guilt on top of pressure. Staying calm under pressure isn't a trait. It's a trained response. You build it the same way you build strength in the gym, by facing resistance and choosing control over chaos. Every time you want to explode but choose to breathe, you gain strength. Every time you feel like quitting but keep your focus, you grow. Every time you feel fear rising but move forward anyway, you take another step toward becoming unshakable. Emotional discipline is what keeps your mind clear when everything around you feels unstable. It's what helps you see truth, instead of reacting from old wounds. It's what allows you to lead yourself when everyone else is losing control. And that kind of self-leadership is rare. Most people blame their emotions for their actions. They say, "I couldn't help it. I was upset." But that excuse is what keeps them stuck. You don't get better by justifying reactions. You get better by taking ownership of them. Start training yourself by becoming aware of your emotional triggers. What situations make you react? What words or behaviors set you off? What pressure causes you to lose your focus? Write them down. Don't judge them, just observe. Awareness is the first step to self-mastery. Once you know what triggers you, you can begin to pause in those moments. Instead of falling into the same reaction again and again, practice the pause. That split second between stimulus and response is where your power lives. When someone disrespects you, pause. When your plans fall apart, pause. When you feel overwhelmed, pause. In that pause, take a breath. Ask yourself what response aligns with who you want to be, not what feels good in the moment, but what leads you forward. That's discipline. It's not about denying emotion, it's about guiding it with intention. You'll never have full control over what life throws at you, but you can always choose how you show up in it. That choice, made repeatedly, rewires your nervous system. It builds inner stability. It teaches your body to stay grounded even when your mind feels tense. Over time, that becomes your natural state. Not because you don't feel stress, but because you've learned how to handle it without being swallowed by it. Let go of the need to react instantly. Fast reactions are often emotional and unwise. Slow down, process, then respond with clarity. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Staying calm doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to stay in control. It means you've decided your peace, your goals, and your standards matter more than proving a point or winning an argument. Train yourself to speak calmly when your mind is loud, to move with presence when your emotions push you to escape, to sit with discomfort instead of numbing it with distractions. That's where your power is. You don't rise above emotional chaos by running from it. You rise by facing it with stillness and strength. That stillness is not passive. It's deeply active. It requires effort, patience, and awareness, and it builds a version of you that becomes impossible to rattle. Make it your goal to be the calmest person in the room, not because you're unaffected, but because you're in control. Let people wonder why you're not panicking. Let your stability speak louder than your words. In a world of overreactions, be the person who thinks clearly. In a world of emotional outbursts, be the one who leads with poise. That kind of presence is rare, and it's powerful. You'll notice that emotional discipline will carry over into every area of your life. Your relationships improve because you no longer explode or shut down. Your work becomes more productive because you're not constantly distracted by inner storms. Your decision-making becomes sharper because you've cleared the noise from your thoughts. And most importantly, your self-respect grows because you begin to see yourself as someone who can handle pressure, lead under fire, and stay centered even when life isn't. Start practicing in the small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your plan gets delayed, when you're tired but still have work to do. These are the reps. This is your emotional gym. The more you train, the stronger you become. And when the big storms come, and they will, you'll be ready. Not because life is easier, but because you've become harder to break. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally wise. Emotions are powerful tools when used correctly. Let them inform you but not rule you. Let them teach you but not lead you off course. You can feel anger without acting from it. You can feel sadness without drowning in it. You can feel fear and still walk forward with purpose. That is real strength. That is what builds legacy. The strongest people are not the loudest. They're the most disciplined. They don't crumble when life gets hard. They don't react when pushed. They hold their ground, keep their standards, and respond with focus. You have that ability within you, but you must train it. Every single day, choose composure over chaos. Choose presence over panic. Choose discipline over reaction. When you master your emotions, you master your life. You gain clarity, peace, and control. You move through pressure without losing yourself. You stop being a victim of your feelings and start becoming the leader of your mind. That shift will change everything. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay focused. That's how you rise above the noise and build a life that can't be shaken. Chapter 9. Surround yourself with driven and focused people. If you want to become relentless, disciplined, and focused, you need to be surrounded by people who live that way. Not people who talk about it, but people who embody it every day. Your environment either sharpens you or softens you. It either fuels your growth or feeds your excuses. The truth is simple. You cannot rise if you keep company with those who are comfortable being average. If you want to become stronger, more focused, and deeply committed to your goals, then you must intentionally choose who you allow into your inner circle. People around you influence how you think, how you act, and how you see yourself. Even if you think you're mentally strong, your surroundings will either stretch your mindset or shrink your ambition. Spend time with people who have no discipline, no clarity, and no hunger, and slowly their mindset will rub off on you. They'll normalize laziness, They'll justify mediocrity, they'll downplay your vision and laugh at your effort. That kind of influence is dangerous because it kills your progress without you even realizing it. If the people closest to you aren't pushing you forward, they're pulling you back. It might not be direct. It might come in the form of jokes, passive comments, or lack of support. But over time, that energy infects your mindset. You begin to question your pace, your path, and your purpose. Not because you're wrong, but because you're around people who are not willing to pay the price for success. And if you're not careful, you'll adapt to their level instead of challenging them to reach yours. Your circle should challenge you, not comfort your limitations. You need people who raise the bar, who expect consistency, who demand excellence, who celebrate your discipline, not mock it, who understand what sacrifice looks like and encourage you to stay committed even when it's hard. You need people who are building something real in their own lives, people who are too focused on their mission to waste time doubting yours. Don't be afraid to let people go. Not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. Growth requires space, and if someone's energy, mindset, or habits are draining your drive, it's your responsibility to protect your path. You don't owe anyone a seat in your future just because they've been part of your past. Loyalty should never cost you your vision. And if being around someone weakens your focus, then distance is not disrespect, it's self-respect. When you surround yourself with driven individuals, you start to level up without even trying. Conversations change. Habits improve, standards rise. Being around people who take their goals seriously naturally pulls more out of you. You start thinking bigger, you start holding yourself to a higher standard, and you stop entertaining the excuses that once sounded reasonable. That's the power of a high-caliber circle. They force you to elevate. Look at your current environment. Are you around people who challenge you to grow or people who enable your distractions? Do your closest relationships support your goals or secretly resent them? Do your friends remind you of your potential or keep you locked in your past? These questions matter because the fastest way to change your life is to change who you surround yourself with. Your circle doesn't have to be big, but it must be intentional. One focused, disciplined, and driven person in your life is more valuable than 100 people who simply exist in your contact list. Stop chasing popularity. Start building alignment. Seek relationships rooted in ambition, not convenience. Find people who talk about growth, not gossip, who value time, not distraction, who live with purpose, not passivity. And understand this, you don't just attract great people by luck. You attract them by becoming that person yourself. You must become what you seek. Be disciplined, be consistent, be focused. Carry yourself with integrity, speak with clarity, show up every day like you're serious about your mission. That energy draws others who live the same way. Great people recognize greatness. If you're surrounded by the wrong ones, it might be time to check if you've been showing up as the right one. Sometimes you outgrow people, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to walk every chapter with you. Some were there to teach you, some were there to test you. But when your vision becomes clearer, your tolerance for excuses, laziness, and shallow conversations decreases. That's not negativity. It's evolution. Growth demands alignment, and alignment requires courage. The courage to choose people who reflect where you're going, not just where you've been. Make it your mission to find mentors, peers, and friends who push you, not because they're better, but because they're committed. They've made the decision to rise, and that decision changes everything. Seek out the ones who make you feel like you're not doing enough. Not out of shame, but out of inspiration. That discomfort is fuel. Use it. Let their energy remind you of what's possible. Let their consistency sharpen yours. And don't wait until you feel ready to seek better people. Do it now. Attend the event. Join the group. Message the person who inspires you. Build new connections, even if it feels uncomfortable. Growth rarely happens in isolation. The right people will stretch your thinking, challenge your patterns, and expand your capacity. But you have to take the first step. You have to be willing to leave behind circles that no longer align with your mission. Every great leader, athlete, creator, and thinker had a circle that kept them sharp. You can't build greatness in isolation. You need feedback. You need challenge. You need support that doesn't let you settle. And you won't find that by chance. You find it by choosing wisely, cutting ruthlessly, and showing up consistently as the person you expect others to be. So audit your circle with honesty. Do they lift you or drain you? Do they inspire you or distract you? Do they challenge you or comfort your weakness? You already know the answer. Now act on it. Build a circle that reflects the life you're creating. Choose people who pull more out of you, and if you haven't found them yet, keep becoming someone who attracts them. Because when your circle is right, everything else becomes easier. Focus becomes natural. Energy stays high, motivation multiplies, and growth becomes a shared experience instead of a lonely battle. Surround yourself with driven people, and your future accelerates. You're no longer climbing alone. You're rising with others who are just as committed, and that kind of momentum is unstoppable. Chapter 10. Show up every day no matter how you feel. The real difference between people who succeed and people who don't isn't talent, luck, or motivation. It's the decision to show up every single day, no matter what. No matter how tired, no matter how discouraged, no matter how unmotivated, they get up and they do the work. That's what separates the ones who live with purpose from the ones who just exist. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it, especially when you don't feel like doing it, because feelings come and go, but consistency creates transformation. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always feel strong. Some days you'll wake up questioning your goals. Some days your mind will tell you to rest when you need to rise, but that's when your real strength is tested. Not when everything feels easy, but when you push through the resistance anyway. That's where self-respect is built. Not by showing up when it's convenient, but by showing up when it's the hardest. There's a lie most people believe, that you need to feel motivated before you act, that you need to be in the right headspace before taking the first step. That's why they never move. They wait for a feeling that might never come. But the truth is, action comes first. When you show up, even with low energy or doubt in your chest, you start to shift your state. You remind yourself that you're in control, not your emotions. And the more often you do that, the more powerful you become. You have to make showing up your default. It can't be optional. It can't be based on mood or convenience. It has to be who you are, a standard, a non-negotiable. And once you decide that, something changes inside of you. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating progress through commitment. You begin to trust yourself in a deeper way, because now your actions aren't attached to how you feel. They're rooted in who you're becoming. Every time you show up when it's hard, you're strengthening your identity. You're teaching your mind that comfort doesn't control you, that excuses don't run your life, that your mission is more important than your emotions. And that identity, the one who shows up no matter what, that's the version of you that gets results, builds momentum, and earns respect from yourself and the world. It's easy to work when you're energized, motivated, and everything is going right. But that's not where greatness is built. It's built on the days you want to stay in bed, on the days your mind tells you it's pointless, on the days when quitting seems reasonable, because if you can get up and give your best even then, there is nothing you can't overcome. You don't just build progress in those moments, you build character. You must train your mind to act regardless of emotion, to get up when you're tired, to stay focused when your thoughts are racing, to keep pushing when the results aren't showing yet. That's discipline. That's mental toughness. That's what creates long-term success, because you're not always going to be excited. You're not always going to feel like it. But if you wait for the perfect day, you'll spend your life waiting. There are no shortcuts to becoming someone you're proud of. There's only the daily choice to do the work, to stay aligned, to keep moving forward even in silence, even in struggle, even in uncertainty. Your future isn't built in big moments. It's built in the decision to show up today and tomorrow and the next day, whether you feel like it or not. On the days you feel defeated, show up. On the days you feel overlooked, show up. On the days your motivation is gone, show up. You'll never regret showing up, but you will regret giving up, because every time you don't show up, you weaken the standard you set for yourself, and every time you do, even in the smallest way, you reinforce the mindset of a champion. Some days, showing up might not look like full intensity. It might be slower, it might be messier, but it still counts. It still matters. What matters is that you didn't disappear. You didn't fold. You didn't give in to the easy way out. You honored your commitment. You faced resistance and kept going. And those days, the hard ones, are the ones that shape who you are more than any victory. You're not building a life based on how you feel. You're building a life based on discipline, resilience, and a clear vision. And that vision should be so strong that it drags you forward on the days when you feel like standing still. The truth is, if your goals don't drive you to move even when it's hard, they're not goals, they're wishes. And wishes don't create success. Relentless commitment does. When you make it a habit to show up daily, you develop momentum that's nearly impossible to stop. You begin to separate yourself from everyone else who's only consistent when it's easy. You start building results, stacking wins, creating proof, and that proof builds confidence, not the kind that fades when life gets tough, but the kind that reminds you who you are no matter the storm. This is how leaders are built. This is how discipline is earned. Not with talk, but with action, not with hype, but with grit. You show up, you execute, you repeat. No complaining, no overthinking, no backing down. Even on the worst day, you still show up like someone who's all in. That energy compounds. That mindset becomes armor. And with that, you become unstoppable. You can rest when you're done. You can recover, adjust and breathe, but don't stop showing up. Don't let how you feel today stop you from building the life you'll be proud of tomorrow. Show up, because your future depends on it. Because the strongest version of you is counting on it. Because nothing you want is found in waiting, it's all found in action. You owe it to yourself to stop negotiating with your emotions. You owe it to your future to stop skipping days that matter. You owe it to your goals to show up even when it's tough, even when it's lonely, even when it's thankless. Because in those moments, you're not just chasing a result, you're becoming someone who can handle anything. So when the alarm goes off and your mind says not today, you say, watch me. When your energy is low and your excuses are loud, you say, this is when it counts. When nothing feels perfect and everything feels off, you remind yourself that greatness isn't built on feelings, it's built on follow-through. Show up, no matter what. And keep showing up until your actions create a life that reflects your deepest potential.